So this is Baruch Fleischman, and what you see here today is a copy of the front cover of the Zohar Kodesh Menukad. This means that it's vocalized by the Pirush of the Matuk Midrash. Tremendously beautiful Pirush. Matuk Midrash, for those of you who don't know, means sweeter than honey. And that it is true. The Zohar is very, very sweet. Well, let me see if I can get some room here and we'll turn it over here. We're going to get started right away. The Pasuk began like this. We're going to be reading the Matuk Midrash now, along with the Pesukim. So I'll read the Pesukim and then I'll just translate the Matuk Midrash. So the Pasuk of Hashem Cholak Lifnechem Yomav. So Hashem was traveling before them during the day, while it was light. So Kadei Lefarish a Pasuk says. So now we want to really the Chevra wants to get into the concept of what's going on here. Rabbi Yossi Pasuk, Rabbi Yossi began to speak like this, and he said, this is a song to the conductor, Ala Yeles Ashachar, in regard to the morning doe, that's a young female deer, Mizmor LeDavid. It's a Mizmor, a song for David. The thing we have to remember is that a great deal, all of the Tehillim, all of the Psalms, they're songs, really. They're really songs. The music, exactly, we've lost. But at the same time, that's the original music. We don't have that system anymore. But using the music that we have today, we do this as well. So he begins with the praise of Torah, and he says like this. How precious is the Torah lifnei HaKodesh Baruch Hu, in the presence of the Kodesh Baruch Hu. In other words, how Kodesh Baruch Hu sees this. Because it's more precious than any other praiseworthy avoda that you could do to serve God. Because anyone who wants Torah, if it's possible to do an avoda of Hashem, the learning of Torah is the most precious of all. Because anyone who puts an effort into learning Torah, Rachim hu le'ela, Rachim hu le'tata, mato. He says, Shekol misha oisa b'Torah, anybody that works Torah, Ahuv hu bein malache ma'ala, he is loved by, whether we're talking about the malachim up above, V'ahuv hu menatachtone ba'olam hazeh, and loved by those in this world. V'neked lashon ishtadel, but it says also that a person be mishtadel, should be mishtadel. Mishtadel means what? The higher shemishtadel lahoisiv, to try to keep trying to go further, to add on Tomid b'libat the Torah in his limit of Torah. He says, Kudsha b'richu atzis le'lemiluye. HaKodesh Baruch Hu machshel le'devar, that person when he speaks and he prays to Hashem, Hashem listens. Lo shavek le b'chai alma v'lo shavek le b'alma da'asi, will never be abandoned. Let's see, ve'edo ozav, never abandoned, ozav ba'olam hazana, in this world. Shechofei falav tamid, that he's constantly hovering around and surrounding us. Ve'edo ozav ozav ba'olam haba, he will not abandon him in the next world either. Ke'osav b'Torah, HaKodesh Baruch Hu imo mamash v'orach nisloitzis bo tamid, because the Kodesh Baruch Hu is constantly with a person who's learning Torah, and he's also bringing sparks of life, bamid, into that person all the time. With a Tanai, that is on this condition, she'asa b'Torah karoi, that you learn Torah properly. What's that? V'zeh shekasav v'horaisa, boy l'miloi ba b'yumamba b'lelyo. He said, the Torah tzrichen la'asok, you have to learn the Torah, ba b'yom, you have to learn it day, and you have to learn it nighttime too. It says the Torah can only become complete on this condition. So that condition was that you work on it day and night. He said, because if we don't, the breeze, that is the connection between us and the Kodesh Baruch Hu that comes about as a result of learning Torah. If you don't have that, and what's to point out that in that phrase it says yom, day and night also. Going on, Vishoil, and then he asks this question, Teinach b'yomoma. Now I can understand learning Torah in the daytime. Vada shebiyom tzark la'asas b'Torah kamosh rov kiyum mitzvos igazimana b'yom. He said, because you can understand that you have to learn Torah during the daytime, because Sharo, the majority of the Kiyam mitzvahs and the mitzvahs you do, Iker Zamana B'Yom, the main time that they have to learn is during the daytime. And why? So if you have to learn the daytime, why you have to learn at night? Because at nighttime was the time of a person's rest. From all the things he struggled with during the day and all of his struggle. So why should we say, let the guy have some time off? Why should he have an obligation to learn Torah over here? And he answers, begin the Yehesh Shkiv L'gabe Shma Kadish Shlim. So understand that this is actually a deeper principle. So he says, why this? Because the first three letters of the name, which are Yud, Kei, Vav, Yaakov, that refers to Zeranpin. Zeranpin, in other words, the life force, the force of daytime. This is the force of the sun. Shuhu Bechinas Yom, which is the aspect of daytime. But the other Achrona, B'malchus Shehiba Bechinas Laila, is actually the concept of nighttime. It's darkness. It's opposite. So one is empty and dark, and the other one is full of light. So these two, what we need to say is that we have to have a conjunction of learning them both. One time when it's dark and one time when it's night. So if you have the daytime, which is the aspect of Zeranpin, which is the sun and all the light and the bright appearances, below Nukve, and he has no female receptacle, it's like an energy without a bulb. It won't light up. So he says Lila, because the bulb represents darkness, but when you put it together with the energy, it becomes light. And there is no completion unless you put the one together. Shlema ella zeh im zera b'tzarek. Let me see if we got it right here. I'm sorry. He says Shlema ella zeh im zeh tzarek l'chavram yachad. You have to put them together. Kach boy Raisa, the Hishtat Chochin, he made the Barnash, Yom Avalayla, so Kach Tzricha. So it has to be that you, person who fears God and loves Him, Tzricha la Torah lehimatze ima Adam, you have to find the Torah be with you. Now it has to be with you, the Hainu sheyilmod b'yom Avalayla, that you learn both daytime and nighttime. The Heves Shalem, the Shlemut, says that Gehev is completion, the Gabi, the Barnash, Yom Avalayla. He said Kadesh Tichia Shlema, so it can be complete, a completion of it. But adds Adam, some completion by this person, Bechinas Yom, Bechinas Laila. But Son Loma, that is to say, Shekasher as a Malchus, that you tie together the Malchus, Im Zer Anpin, V'yigrom Beinechem Yichud Elyon, and you could cause between them a certain upper Yichud. Ba'omer Od, it says further like this. So now it goes a little bit different. That's the way it begins. That's the way it begins, right? So he says, Bahari Lamado, we learned, Sheikra Halaylo Hu Mechatzal Salaylo is from midnight onwards. Ba'afal Gab the Palguk the Kamisa the Klal of the Leil Yehu. Ba'afal Pi Shechetzi Harishon, that even though we said that the first half of the night Hu Beklal Halaylo is also part of the night. Kam Oz Sarek Lilmod, you have to learn at that time too. Ki Lo Yotze Beklal V'Chagisa B'V'Yayla, because it still is not excluded from the cloud that you have to work on a day and night time. Aval B'Palgus Leil, in other words, you can learn there and then you're fulfilling it. He said, but B'Chatzos Laila, but when the night splits, he says, Yesh Ma'ala Gadoda, there's a tremendous milo over here. Shaz Kucha Barichu all begins at the Eden, the Hishta'al Shachar Bechem Tzedikaya, because that's the time that the Kodesh Baruch Hu Niknas of Gan Eden, he enters into Gan Eden. That is a Yerida of him in coming down into the Gan Eden. The Hishtashaya, in order to rejoice and to celebrate and to celebrate la'im atzadikim v'shesham who tzadikim and pure joy. K'nodesh bechatzos alayla, and this is what the Matuk adds. He says I have to know this, that at midnight, Kodesh Baruch Hu Sod Yaakov is the secret of Yaakov Avinu. Now, you have to know Kabbalah to know this. It refers to the right side. It's a right side force. Niknas began Eden Shuhu Sod Leah Lisyachedim. He enters in Yaakov. This is called the Yichud of Yaakov and Leah. And I think it's the Mala Menachaz. I'm not sure, but from the Mata Menachaz. But the Neshamas Tzadikim Olim Baba. And at this time, when this Yichud is coming about between Yaakov and Leah, he says, the Neshamos HaTzadikim, the Neshamos of Tzadikim Olim Baba, they go along up with it. So the Mayim Nukvin, which is the concept of prayer and the Torah study that takes place, is coming from you down here, down below in this world of mess. So the man, this is an offering up to Hashem Yisborach. It's called feminine waters in English. And this mixing of your prayers and His coming to you is what we call the celebration. This is the delight. I'm always looking for a good word in English for Shashua. So he's of a Geden boy lay labar nash to make and va'az sarecha adan lakoms, and then every man has to get up. This is what you need to do. Now, for us living in this world, the world that we're living in, not so easy. V'lo yilmod kishuhu shochet b'mitaso, and the person should v'lo yilmod kishuhu shochet, not actually get up, get out of bed, and not just to learn while you're lying in bed. L'moy b'harais v'daso b'torah b'kol, and you should also say it out loud. Sheyotzech ha'devarim b'piv, and it's all of this. He says this is part of the process that you need to be able to do. So it's said like this: the kudsha berichu, v'kol tzedekaya, that begins to the eidin kuhu tzaisi the kolet. If you do that, hare lamadu shakodesh baruch hu, v'kol tzedikim, all the tzedikim in Shgan Eden, all of those neshamos, all this tremendous amount of light, kulam machshiv the kolo, they'll all listen to you, to that person who's singing. This is the meaning of this pasuk. That those who dwell in the garden, gardens, he has in plural. He said that translates. You have to take it out. They're listening to you. Bring it out of that low place, which is the place you live, and elevate it up to the place of the angels. This has been explained. So it's been explained in another place. Yoshev is beganim. The one when it says those who dwell in the gardens. This is Knesset Yisrael. Now you have to understand, Knesset Yisrael means the concept of, the congregation of Jews. But he says that this actually, and he says this over and over again, so I think everybody agrees with this, that the phrase Knesset Yisrael really refers to the Shekhinah. HaYoshev has begun Eden Sheba'olam Abriya, that she is in the Garden of Eden. That she goes down into this place of difficulty with all of her delights, and she's there. It is her, who is her, this Knesset Shekhinah. She praised the Kodesh Baruch at night, b'shvacha shal Torah, with the praise of the Torah. Zakor chulonke demand the ishtadl b'hador, the shvacha lay the Kodesh berichu b'shvacha da raisa. And he writes like this, and we're going to conclude this year, and we're going to have another one right after it, so maybe we'll be able to get that tomorrow. He says, Ashrei chelko shel mi sheyako b'chatzos alayla, happy is the person of he who wakes up at midnight, mishtatif imol l'shakech l'kodesh baruch l'shaveach l'kodesh baruch v'shvachu shel Torah. Happy is that person who mishtatif imol, that he joins together with the Shekhinah as a part of a yichud, praying for this light to come down, which he calls the light of Yaakov. The Sheveach HaKodesh Baruch Hu, to give praise HaKodesh Baruch Hu Sheb'shvachu Shel Torah, with the tremendous praise, with that praise which comes as a result of learning Torah. Those words of Torah. His Torah, the drush pasuki Torah, to to interpret, to try to understand deeply the psukim, the Mishnah, the Gemara, the Hilchos, Bakol, learn all of those things. And that's how we will understand the upper Yichud, which comes from Zun. This is Baruch Fleischman. This is Tikkun Elevator Kola. We're going to get into that Yichud because you could start talking about this, and we'll see what we can learn.